East Mesa, Arizona. January 27th, 2000. It's 5 a.m., a strange time of day for a well-to-do woman to be dumping trash.
This delivery man just happened to see her, and he thought it was unusual. She was wearing high heels and a jumpsuit. So he took the step of writing down her license number.
Curiosity gets the better of the witness. What he finds will not only shock him, but the entire city.
The case was bizarre from the second it happened, and it got more and more bizarre as it went on.
In the early 90s, in Scottsdale, Arizona, French-born Valerie Pape is well known to the pampered ladies in town.
That's fine, Valerie.
Valerie Pape was a high society salon owner.
So I'm just going to place these onto your eyes, and then you will rest for 15 minutes, okay?
She was a very charming woman. She was a very, very smooth lady.
But 44-year-old Valerie has no one to share her success with. Until she catches the eye of bar owner, 54-year-old Ira Pomerantz.
She was a woman of taste, definitely an attractive lady, and I think a lot of men would have been very glad to have met her. He was a little older than Valerie, and according to his family, he just sort of fell for her.
I see you drinking champagne.
Ira is well known in Phoenix as a successful entrepreneur.
I own a few restaurants. Cheers.
Valerie falls for his charm and money, and they soon marry.
They lived a glamorous life. They lived in the McCormick Ranch neighborhood in North Scottsdale. Very, very nice, the community. And it was a very large house. From the outside, looking in, people would think that they were wealthy.
Valerie prides herself on her appearance and spends exorbitantly to keep up with the latest fashions. But when her husband's business ventures start failing, Valerie keeps spending.
Spending money we don't have.
Need these things for my salon.
Why would you do that?
Valerie bears the brunt of her husband's troubles. The marriage turns violent.
You bitch! You can't talk to me like that.
Touch me! Don't touch
Everything
me!
you own belongs to me.
Go! You are useless!
You own belongs to me. You take that crap back. You take it now. Back.
I hate you, you pig!
Damn bitch.
Get out! You're
More than one friend of Valerie's told police they had seen her bruised and battered from domestic violence. There was no question what was going on.
Valerie gets an old friend from France to come and stay with them. It doesn't help. It makes matters worse. Her husband's anger turns to jealousy.
Do you mind speaking in English?
This was an aggravation for Ira Pomerantz.
We were just talking about the little cafe that is...
To have a man living under the same roof with you and your wife. So certainly that didn't help.
Share breakfast a lot, did you?
Her plan to protect herself has failed. Valerie decides to take more drastic action.
She actually took a class from the gentleman that taught her how to shoot.
Get your left hand and hold that. That's it.
You're gonna buy a gun, it's very smart to know how to handle the gun.
Straight down the barrel. That's beautiful. Whenever you're ready, you go for it. Okay.
The gentleman said that she was very poor at first, but that she improved pretty quickly.
Valerie Pape is in training for murder.
That's excellent.
In many of the cases where a woman kills her husband, she was desperately unhappy and saw no other way out.
But no one could imagine what this petite French beauty is capable of. January 23rd, 2000. Scottsdale, Arizona. Valerie Pape feels trapped in an abusive marriage.
Where the hell have you been?
At work late.
There was a history of calls to the Scottsdale police. Scottsdale police had definitely been to their home.
You tell me where you've been, or I'm gonna bust you up so bad you'll never work in your salon again.
Touch me and I go to cops.
She no longer wants to be with her husband, but wants a more permanent solution than divorce.
I've had enough. I'm getting a divorce, and you're not getting anything. You hear me? Nothing.
Most people have ups and downs in their marriages, but would never dream of killing their spouse.
Valerie pumps 4 shots into the back of her 60-year-old husband.
Mr. Pomerantz pushed her too hard, and she killed him.
But taking his soul is not enough for Valerie. She wants to destroy his body.
It's not terribly surprising to me that Valerie shot and killed her abusive husband. What does confuse me is that then she cut him up.
Mr. Pomerantz was dismembered brutally. His body was basically destroyed piece by piece.
This body, it would be heavy, it would be difficult to disarticulate the bones and joints from one another. It would require a persistent amount of endurance.
For 4 days, Valerie keeps the body parts at home.
She had not planned how she was going to hide the body. Obviously, wherever the body was, there's going to be evidence, and the evidence could incriminate her.
Panicking, Valerie drives across town and tosses part of Ira's body away like trash.
You don't see people dismembered every day. You don't see people driving 30 or 40 miles from Scottsdale to discard a torso every day. So this was quite a case. This delivery man just happened to see her lifting this odd item out of her trunk early in the morning, and he thought it was unusual. She was wearing high heels and a jumpsuit. So he took the step of writing down her license number. They found poor Ira's torso sitting there in the dumpster. His head, arms, and legs were all missing.
Battered women have been known to kill their husbands, to shoot them, but it's rare that they chop them up.
Thanks to the eagle-eyed delivery man, Valerie is soon tracked down.
The car was registered to Valerie Pape. They found blood in the house. The police found some receipts for saw blades that would have been a useful tool in dismembering someone.
Valerie Pape never stands trial. In 2002, she accepts a plea of second-degree murder. At her sentencing, the judge asks her to come clean and disclose where the rest of Ira's body is.
Judge Galati was very angry at Valerie Pape. He begged her, more or less, please tell us whatever happened to the head and the legs and the arms of Ira Pomerantz. And she refused to give it up.
Ira Pomerantz is still not properly laid to rest. Valerie Pape is sentenced to 16 years in the Arizona State Prison. She is eligible for parole in 2018.
I don't think Valerie Pape is a natural-born killer. I think she snapped.
Buckingham Palace, the ultimate symbol of England's pomp and ceremony, home to Britain's kings and queens. Only a few privileged outsiders get to know life inside these hallowed halls.
Hey, Sal.
Working-class girl Jane Andrews will be one of the lucky ones. In 1988, the shop assistant answers an intriguing ad in a magazine.
But it's got to be someone wealthy. I mean, it's not just anyone that puts an ad in the Lady, is it? Yeah. I'm going to go for it.
The job is beyond Jane's wildest dreams. Working for the Queen's daughter-in-law, the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson.
All of a sudden, Jane was being allowed to walk down the corridors of Buckingham Palace and other great houses to go with Sarah Ferguson wherever she went. She allowed Jane Andrews to become a central part of her life. And as a result of that, of course, Jane Andrews could move in circles that she would never dreamt of. She went to the best parties. She met famous people. She earned a good living.
Rubbing shoulders with England's elite, Jane meets her own Prince Charming.
Jane Andrews.
Lovely to meet you.
Likewise.
You look absolutely ravishing.
The wealthy stepson of a Greek shipping magnate. But Dimitri doesn't know what he is in for.
The picture we found there was actually very disturbing, that she had a propensity for manipulation, used violence on a number of occasions, certainly stalking behaviour, could be very foul-mouthed.
She was extremely dramatic, extremely manipulative.
I'm a dresser.
Ah, yes, the Duchess of York.
You've done your research.
Most certainly, ma'am.
This was a woman who was always on the edge.
Jane sees rich men as her ticket to the high life.
Jane wasn't so much looking for love as she was looking for financial security, a big, fat wallet.
This is lovely music. Would you like to join me at all?
Well, I'd be inclined to say yes.
Let's do that then.
She's been described variously in the media as a bit of a gold digger. She had airs and graces above her station.
It's been great, really, it has.
It doesn't take long before Dimitri sees Jane's dark side.
What do you mean it's not working out?
Exactly that, it's not working out. Exactly.
This is a woman that pushed. She always wanted more. So she always wanted more time. She always wanted more affection. She always wanted more money, being taken out to better restaurants.
Are you leaving me?
Being dumped by her lover brings out the worst in Jane.
You can't leave me, you bastard!
Goodness sakes, you're making this
She no longer acts like a lady.
It's ridiculous! I'll show you ridiculous!
You know what? You're making this incredibly easy, okay? I'm leaving now. Thank you.
You can't leave me! You're a bastard!
She couldn't stand rejection.
I'll show you!
When he rejected her, she ripped up his clothes and stole a cheque from his checkbook.
The world he brought to her, the wealth, the parties, the important rich people, it would all be gone.
Bastard!
If a guy comes home and finds that his suits and shirts have all been slashed to pieces, I'd head for the airport.
Dimitri escapes. But the next man won't be so lucky.
Hey, Tom.
desperate not to lose her entry into high society. Jane soon finds a replacement,
Tom, what do you do?
Tom
What kind of
Cresman.
things are you into?
Fast cars, boats, yes.
He
Fast
comes from a
cars.
rich family
Tell more.
and is a successful businessman in his own right.
Yes.
I met Mr. Cresman a couple of times. He was quite an interesting personality. He ticked a lot of Jane's boxes. He was good looking, he had wealth, he had a good taste, beautiful cars, lovely flats, well furnished, and he had that sort of authority with him that she liked. She always thought to herself, what can I get from this person?
Jane has had a taste of life at the top, and she wants to stay there, whatever the cost.
The match between Tom Cresman and Jane Andrews was made somewhere other than heaven.
And here I am.
Tell more.
No, you tell more. Tell me more about the cars.
Any man that got involved in a relationship with her would either be very brave or he's got a death wish.
1990s, London, England.
There's an ad in here for a person.
A working-class girl answers an ad in a magazine and ends up working for the royal family. Jane Andrews not only walks the corridors of Buckingham Palace, but has a wealthy, high society boyfriend.
Her relationships had a sort of central core about them, and it was always about what more can you, as a man, give me?
And generally, the sort of people she would have affairs with or relationships with would have been people of high net worth, people with some influence.
Tom, I'm serious. I'm giving you an ultimatum of 6 months until you have to propose to me.
Her future seems assured. All she needs is a marriage proposal.
Look, can't we talk about this on the hops? Yeah. Come on.
On the holidays?
Yeah. Come on.
Well, as long as we do discuss it.
Okay, come on.
But things take a turn for the worse. Jane gets fired by the Duchess.
Sarah Ferguson probably thought that Jane Andrews was getting a little bit above herself, and it became a convenient excuse for her to cite money troubles to let this woman go.
The official reason was downscaling.
I think Jane may have been way, way out of her league working for the royal family with such a demanding job. The stress must have been enormous.
For a woman who can't cope with rejection, it is a crippling blow.
Her losing her job to Sarah Ferguson basically set her off. This was a woman who had a job for life, earning good money. All of a sudden, she's cast out. She takes a PR job, she fails at that. She then becomes a shop assistant.
Her rags to royalty story is over. Jane is back at the shop front.
Do you know, Tom, I love you.
Now her only hope of keeping up appearances is Tom.
Tom Cresman is her way out, her meal ticket.
So I love you too.
That's it? Is that all I get?
From now.
She always pressurised men. She always pushed them into a situation where they would walk out on her.
Tom went away for a weekend where he met another woman. Shortly thereafter, Jane found emails that he had sent that woman describing the old girlfriend similar to an old pair of slippers. Nice to have around, but didn't really want her. This devastated Jane.
And all of a sudden, her dreams begin to disintegrate. Not only has she lost the job with Sarah Ferguson, she's now losing the man she loves. And that is the beginning of the end for her.
I think he was very worried by some of Jane's possessive behaviour, and I think he was thinking, do I want to have this for the rest of my life?
A letter Tom has hidden in the closet confirms there will be no wedding.
He wrote a letter. I do love you, but you're a bit too intense. I need time, I need space, I need to think about it. I'm not ready to make a commitment to you.
The moment it became apparent that he wouldn't marry her, Mr. Cresman was fair game. And that's the trouble with Jane Andrews, is that there is no end to that emotional spectrum. She loved him, she hated him.
Tom! Tom! What's this letter I just found? Did you write it? Is it true?
There was a confrontation. Tom told Jane he had no intention of marrying her.
I need time, I need space to think.
Oh, I'll give you all the space you need!
Jane and Tom got into a terrible fight.
Yes, we're having a row.
Tom called the police and told them if somebody didn't come over and stop the fighting, that one of them was going to be hurt.
You can see where this was going. Increasing rows, more bitterness, more anger. And this was a woman who was going to blow.
The police never come. And Tom will never see daylight again.
She came into the room. She hit him across the head. There was an indentation on his forehead. That would clearly, at the very least, have stunned him.
I think Jane hit Tom in the head first because she wanted to make sure he could not fight back.
She took an 8-inch kitchen knife and stabbed him through the chest, and it hit the left ventricle, which caused massive internal bleeding. He basically bled to death.
Jane may have thought of killing Tom before this horrible night, but it really came into focus for her when he completely rejected her. At least that's what she felt. And she ended the pain, and she made him pay.
Jane flees and sends bizarre text messages to her rich and royal friends.
Sends text to various people, including the Duchess of York, stating that Tom had been murdered by somebody else, and she was surprised by it all. Now, you know, that's her first reaction. That shows a very manipulative and calculating person.
There's enough evidence to make Jane the prime suspect. Police track her cell phone and 2 days later arrest her. Jane's defense is that she's the victim. Tom attacked her.
She murdered him in life, and she murdered him again in death by trying to destroy his reputation. Tom was, in fact, Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, the evidence was overwhelming, and the jury clearly believed the prosecution story because we had amassed so much evidence.
In 2001, Jane is sentenced to life in prison. She's eligible for parole in 2012.
If she had shown remorse at the earliest opportunity, had admitted her guilt, she probably would look at manslaughter and probably got 5 or 6 years.
I don't think Jane is a born killer. I think there was a sequence of events in her life that led her to staying in a bad relationship and then ending that relationship badly.
When a marriage becomes violent, the victim isn't always the wife.
Nothing Greg could do could make Shana happy.
But who will protect a frightened man?
She could not control her temper.
The unusual, violent nature of this was something that he just didn't see coming.
Rigby, Idaho, 2000.
Hey, kids!
Greg Whitmore appears to be a lucky man in more ways than one.
You're welcome. There you go.
Come on, Greg,
princess.
give her some.
A soldier, he survives the First Gulf War and returns home to start a new life with his sweetheart, Shana Parkinson. The couple is blessed with a son and a daughter.
I got another one here for you. There you go. You know how to make sure you okay?
Greg was a very easygoing guy, loved his kids, and real family-oriented type of a person.
But the happy times don't last. Greg is married to a troubled woman.
It appears to me that Shana had more than one untreated and possibly undiagnosed mental disorder.
Without any professional help, Shana self-medicates. She steals prescriptions and drinks heavily.
Taking excessive amounts of alcohol and sedatives would only make that condition worse. She also had an uncontrollable temper.
There is one target for her dark moods, her husband.
What the hell, Ben? Don't you lie to me!
She would lash out violently at Greg repeatedly. Nothing Greg could do could make her happy.
Take your hands off me!
She could not control her temper.
Shana's behavior was very bizarre, very strange. She was someone who was very difficult to figure out what was going on inside her head.
Greg hides their marital problems, fearing no one will understand a man being the victim of domestic violence.
What do you want me to do? If I hit her, I'm the bad guy.
But when the beatings get worse, Greg confides to his friends.
The whole issue of men who are battered by wives instead of wives who are battered by husbands, that was an underlying issue.
I think whoever Shana might have married would have been subjected to her wrath, her irrational behavior, and her problems. Greg just happened to be the one that got it.
By 2002, Greg, who bravely fought in the First Gulf War, can't take the violence in his own home anymore.
Trying to walk out the kids, are ya?
He moves out. After being in control of Greg and their marriage for almost a decade, Shana isn't willing to let go.
She was really into drama and hate. I think her hatred for Greg grew because he rejected her.
Greg's hope that leaving home will end the violence will soon be shattered.
When Greg rejected Shana and wanted a divorce, it was more than she could handle. She went nuts.
Rigby, Idaho. A perfect marriage deteriorates into spousal abuse. But Shana Parkinson isn't the victim. She's the attacker, emotionally unstable and doped up on pills and alcohol. She beats her husband, Greg. Fed up with the abuse, he moves out.
She didn't want to give up, didn't want to let go of things that she was holding on to from that marriage.
love it. I love it.
In 2003, Greg is divorced and free to find love again with 29-year-old beauty Karen Cummings. Not everyone is happy.
Greg and Karen met. That obviously stirred up further emotions in Shana. It further exasperated the situation.
Insane with jealousy, Shana stalks her ex-husband and his lover.
Asshole! She became obsessed with him, stalking him, calling him, telephone stalking. Sometimes a couple of hundred calls a day, no matter where he was.
Far out.
Oh my God! Greg, she's outside.
She was essentially in a situation where she just didn't want to let go.
Her behavior becomes more obsessive and dangerous.
What the hell is she doing? Jesus.
She'd lash out violently. She could not control her temper.
Shana had already shown signs of using Greg before he met Karen.
We're calling the cops. We're gonna go get her. You were right. She's nuts.
The children still live with Shana, but Greg is worried about their safety and attempts to gain custody. Greg's bid to protect his family only adds fuel to the fire. Shana breaks into Greg's home and steals everything precious to him.
When she got all of Greg's possessions together, including his prized trophies and a picture of his mother, and burned them, she was symbolically killing Greg.
It's common to have custody battles and so forth, but this was one that was taken to the extreme.
Just days later, on February 1st, 2004, Shana pays Greg another unexpected visit.
Don't you too cozy.
How'd you get here?
Shana snapped, lost total control of something that had been building up, and stabbed Greg multiple times.
When women are motivated to kill based on revenge or jealousy, oftentimes we see that they fly into a rage, and the rage becomes uncontrollable. They don't stop stabbing until they feel like it, until they've run out of steam. Greg was stabbed around 30 times, his girlfriend 13 times. It's clear the target of the attack was Greg. Whoever went after him totally hated him.
Shana thinks they are alone in the house, but they are not. There is a tiny and terrified eyewitness.
Karen had a 5-year-old daughter who witnessed the murder from another room.
The little girl tries to help her mom the only way she can. She bravely calls 911.
very emotional to hear the frightened call of a 5 or 6-year-old girl telling the dispatcher that she'd just seen her mother murdered. When police got to the house, it was just described again and again, and just in terms of being a bloody, grisly murder scene.
If I was called in to do a profile and I have a man and woman murdered in their bed, he's got 30 stab wounds and she's got 13, the first thing I tell the police is look for a former wife, girlfriend, or lover as the killer.
Within hours, 911 receives another call. It's the killer.
Police said she was very confused and incoherent. She was in a very disoriented state of mind.
Could you please step out of the car?
Shana is found several miles away in a neighboring county.
Are you hurt?
No.
Ma'am, you're covered in blood.
Evidence literally dripping from her.
I don't know what happened.
Why don't you come with me? Just come with me and go straight.
Shana Parkinson had so many mental, behavioral, and emotional problems. It doesn't surprise me that it culminated in murder.
With indisputable forensic evidence, Shana Parkinson is found guilty of murder. In August 2004, she is sentenced to life with a minimum of 27 years.
Any man can be in a marriage with disagreements or fights, but I think the unusual, violent nature of this was something that he just didn't see coming.
This is one of those sad cases where the perpetrator needs to be taken away from society forever, so the rest of us are safe. She needs to remain incarcerated for the rest of her life.
You're gonna just sit there and act like nothing has happened.
A woman used to control is hard to stop.
This is the kind of person that will not let anyone get away with anything that she doesn't want.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, hey?
Being the boss can be all important.
She saw what she wanted, and she made it happen.
In California, 2002, the town of Clovis is a peaceful haven.
Clovis is generally known as being a quiet community, quiet, kind of an upscale neighborhood.
An ideal place for Tim and Lissa Schuster to raise their children.
They were married for about 20 years. For a lot of people, they seem like a pretty normal couple.
Make sure you serve those potatoes evenly. I want my full share.
Affluent and successful, the family's good fortune is due to its strong leader, Larissa.
You kids want crackling or not? Right.
Say grace.
Larissa grew up in Missouri, and she was a hard worker. She excelled in high school, academically, athletically, and was a very ambitious woman.
The couple work together, but it's biochemist Larissa who calls the shots.
Now this is what I'm talking about. Steve, come and have a look.
Really?
She builds up a $1 million research laboratory.
This is what we're aiming for.
Pretty strong-willed woman who really commanded the respect from a lot of people in her industry. She was basically running the business, and Tim was the accountant, part-time.
Larissa makes her career out of chemical reactions and no one gets in her way.
She's a take-charge person. She's a type of person who sees what she wants and makes it happen, gets it done.
Wow. Well done, Larissa.
Will you try and find some more like this?
Yeah, sure.
But her experiments don't stay in the lab. Larissa chases a different type of chemistry through illicit affairs.
There were marital problems and intimacy issues. Larissa had gone outside of their relationship.
Larissa is so confident, she brags to her friends at the local beauty parlor.
I mean, after I told him, he just acted like nothing had happened. I mean, what sort of man doesn't care if his wife is cheating on him? He's like a nothing of a human being.
It's like half a man.
Long-suffering husband, Tim, is used to the humiliation.
Lissa Schuster was a bully. She bullied her husband.
You're gonna just sit there and act like nothing has happened?
Behind closed doors, the family is at each other's throats. Their teenage daughter is powerless.
Like you cared if your wife has had an affair.
Do you really think I want to hear this?
Their entire relationship was based around Larissa running the show.
I want my daughter to know what sort of pathetic man she has for a father.
That's enough, Larissa.
She was very controlling. She was very violent towards Tim.
What if I do this? What's he gonna do next, Tom?
Neighbors would say that they could hear Larissa yelling.
I said stop that!
Stop it!
Crazy.
Things just got worse and worse.
I hate you!
The family is falling apart. Larissa sends her unhappy daughter out of the state.
Not knowing what to do with Kristen, they actually shipped her off to Missouri to live with her grandparents.
Look at you. Pathetic!
With her marriage on the rocks, Larissa confides in her beautician.
I just wish I could finish the job and get rid of him completely. Oh, I just wish he was dead.
Just joking, you don't mean that.
Larissa's manicurist said that Larissa looked at her with a very serious face and said, "I wish Tim was dead."
I'm serious. I wish Tim was dead.
Not in a joking manner. Her manicurist tried to play it off and said, "You know, you're just joking. You don't really mean that." And she looked at her and again, very seriously said, "No, I mean it. I wish Tim was dead."
And I know people that could make it happen.
Tim has no idea his wife is making lethal threats. He's busy packing his belongings. He's moving out.
When Tim decided to move out of the house, that was a big moment because it showed that he was no longer gonna do whatever Larissa told him to do.
Although Larissa is now free to pursue her affairs, she becomes obsessed with Tim's defiance.
This is the kind of person that will not let anyone get away with anything that she doesn't want.
Tim moves into his own place. As Larissa recruits an accomplice, loyal employee James Fagon.
Got another job for you.
It could be Larissa brought her minion into the murder plot because she really wanted the help. I don't think that was necessary. I think Larissa liked bossing people around.
First order of business, a midnight raid on Tim's condo.
That's enough.
She recruited James to go and vandalize the house, take back some of the things that she felt were rightfully hers.
But Larissa wants more than a handful of material goods.
She realized things weren't going to go her way, and so she decided to try to make them go her way.
She wants everything. In 2003, Clovis, California, 47-year-old biochemist Lissa Schuster runs a successful research laboratory.
Commanded a lot of authority and was ambitious, got things done.
What if I do this? What's he gonna do next?
But Larissa is also a control freak who belittles and beats her husband, Tim. He's moved out of the family home and is filing for a divorce.
Significant amount of money which was at stake between the business and the two homes, roughly over $1 million, which was potentially in question here.
I will destroy you, you pathetic little weasel. You're only
The way that she painted this picture of Tim was that he was the cause of the divorce, that he was a bad guy, that he was an evil person.
I will wipe you off the face of this earth.
That wasn't the case. Everybody else said the exact opposite, that Larissa was the problem. She was the mean one, the evil one, and Tim was really a victim in this relationship.
You're only half a man now. Soon there'll be nothing left.
And eventually, she thought nothing of Tim.
Larissa's rage is white hot because she is about to lose half her fortune in a divorce settlement.
She didn't want to share any of what they had earned together in the 20 years of marriage. She wanted it all for herself. But moreover, she had come to hate her husband.
She wants to teach Tim a lesson. A chemistry major, Larissa knows exactly what to do.
She'd gone online and done research regarding acid tissue digestion and digestion of animal tissue. She ordered an extremely large amount of acid, much more than would be used by her lab over the course of a year or more. She also ordered a blue barrel.
Her loyal employee, 24-year-old James Fagan, is convinced to help again.
James maybe saw Larissa as perhaps a bit of a motherly figure and someone who kind of took control of things.
On the evening of July 9th, 2003, Larissa is ready.
Larissa calls Tim on his cell phone and says, hey, you need to come to the front door.
I need you to come outside.
And James, who is hiding, jumps out and tries to knock him out with a stun gun.
James said that he was struggling with Tim, and then all of a sudden, Tim just stopped moving. He looked up and saw that Larissa had the rags, which were soaked in the chloroform, up next to Tim's mouth.
45-year-old Tim Schuster has spoken his last words, but this is not his last memory.
James said that Tim was still making noises, so it's obvious that he was breathing in some way at that point. Two of them placed Tim inside the barrel. Once he was inside, they stood it upright with his feet sticking out of the barrel. And Larissa grabbed several bottles of acid and began pouring them into the barrel.
Tim's wife is dissolving their marriage, literally, while her husband is still alive.
While their son's asleep upstairs, she's pouring acid over her estranged husband inside the garage.
They plan to seal Tim's body in the barrel.
What are we gonna do about the feet?
But it doesn't quite fit.
Don't worry, I'll take care of that.
She took a saw and sawed the back of the feet so that she could push the feet down, partially severing them so that she could fit the lid back on the barrel and seal it back up.
I believe Larissa is capable of killing anyone that crossed her. It wasn't necessary to kill her husband. She wants it all.
But Larissa hasn't thought this through. Although she doesn't love her husband, many others do, and they miss him immediately.
So many people loved him and cared for him, and in her arrogance, she didn't believe that anybody else would care for Tim if he was missing.
Furthermore, Tim's friends insist he has only one enemy,
number of people that told us about how much Larissa hated Tim and how many times she had said she wanted him dead. So we started focusing our investigation more in that direction.
When they search the family garage, the barrel with the strong odor is soon discovered.
Inside, they found the remains of Tim. Everything above probably mid-waist had been dissolved, and there was just a liquid, sludgy substance that was at the bottom of this barrel.
Larissa and James are arrested for first-degree murder. Both are found guilty and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Lissa Schuster is currently in California's Chowchilla prison.
Larissa murdered her husband, Tim, out of greed.
A brilliant scientist and businesswoman, has it all, but she lacks the most important qualification in life, a loving heart.
I don't believe Larissa was one bit remorseful for killing Tim. I believe the only thing that she was remorseful for was for not being smart enough to avoid being caught.
July 1992. On a multi-million-dollar farm in Knoxville, Tennessee, a wealthy family prepares for the worst. Ed Dossett, the respected local assistant district attorney, is terminally ill.
Ed Dossett was receiving treatment. He was dying of colon cancer.
His wife, Rainella, a nurse, is caring for him. They've had 20 privileged and prosperous years together.
They had a huge farm that Ed had inherited from his family.
Thank God you're here.
And he was certainly in an enviable position of power and influence.
She's going crazy fussing over me.
And as his wife, so was Rainella.
She's drawing a line. One come near my head.
Well, there ain't much to cut now, is there?
Ed's death is a slow one.
It's better to leave it to an expert anyhow.
Oh, well,
But Rainella has support, including their neighbor, town barber, David Leath.
A little off the top.
Easygoing, laid-back sort of person. He'd help anyone. That was the kind of person he was.
When Ed Dossett finally dies, Rainella and David's relationship becomes more.
Hi, honey.
I'm here.
I got you these. So, what would you like to do tonight? Another carriage ride?
He was very romantic.
Horses in a jiffy.
Every Thursday, he gave her a red rose.
It's Thursday.
Because that's what he did on the first night they went out.
Thursday is my favorite day of the week.
Everyone is delighted with the union, including David's daughter, Cindy.
Everything was just great. I mean, they were both happy.
They marry and settle down for a life together on the farm. Until Rainella gets a phone call.
I understand. Yes, of course, I want to know more.
It's just that it's such a shock.
She found out her first husband, Ed Dossett, had actually had another son with another woman.
Thank you. Please stay in touch.
Ed had an affair with his secretary.
Ed, you bastard!
White with rage. Rainella's revenge will be to shoot the messenger.
Hello?
I should kill you. And that woman!
That is the strangest response I've ever heard of when a woman found out that her husband had fathered another child.
The messenger is the husband of Ed's lover.
He's laying there helpless, and she comes up and said,
This time I won't miss.
She pulls the trigger.
I used to be a better shot.
And it clicks. Nothing left in the gun. The ammunition is spent.
Rainella should be charged with attempted murder. But with friends in high places, she gets off lightly.
Here is where Rainella's influence and privilege in the community came to bear. She worked a deal.
She pled guilty to the charge of aggravated assault, and it was passed for a period of 6 or so years on good behavior.
So how's Tom?
David stands by his wife throughout the legal ordeal.
Oh, hey, you know, David.
But it changes Rainella.
Offering big money.
She is now a suspicious and controlling woman.
Are you ready for yours?
Yeah, I'll have to stay.
She was keeping awful close tabs on him. She won't know, where's my boy? And I said, well, I don't know where he's at. She said, well, he left and he's out running around. I thought he might be over there.
Well, he'll have the fish, but you better make it steamed with steamed vegetable and no fries. I'll have the steak rare. Thank you.
Rainella just totally discounted anything David wanted.
Well, I just love fish, honey. Thank you.
She wanted to be the one in control.
Sign here.
Rainella's control now extends to their money. She's brought millions into the marriage.
You want to make me happy, right?
She wanted to make sure she held on to all that property.
Well, sign here and make me the happiest woman in the county.
She insists David signs a new will. He is no longer entitled to a cent.
I don't think David really understood the ramifications of what he was doing when the will was written, because basically he disinherited his daughter.
When she wants something, she seems to know how to get it.
No one suspects this is only stage one of Rainella's plans. Rainella Dossett Leath has assets worth $18 million.
Rainella, why do you need these guns for?
Well, it's a farm, isn't it? Not that you'd know how
She wants to protect them from David, her second husband.
Papa always said you've got to protect what's yours.
After finding out her first husband has an illegitimate child, she thinks all men are cheats. David's been forced to bear the brunt of Rainella's fury. On the morning of March 13th, 2003, David can take no more.
Police? My husband has killed himself!
I couldn't believe it. I was just totally shocked. Because I knew that my dad, he couldn't commit suicide. I mean, he was too prideful.
When the police arrived on the scene, they initially thought that it was a suicide, but a few things started not to add up for that. Those being the fact that it was a 3-shot suicide.
Forensic pathologist Janis Amatuzio knows that taking 3 shots to kill yourself is very unusual.
The first shot went into the headboard, missed him entirely. The second shot went in above the level of the left eye and then went downward and to the right so that it actually struck the brain stem. Once the brain stem is severed or damaged, all of the motor tracts would have been severed or damaged as well. This individual could not have made any meaningful movement. The third gunshot apparently just went into the mattress, went through that and the box spring into the floor underneath.
The third and final shot confirms that David's suicide is a virtual impossibility.
How does a man who's already dead from a severed spinal cord shoot a gun again?
Suspicions turn quickly to Rainella. She's got a history of shooting at men. Also suspicious are the surgical sedatives found in David's bloodstream. Hours before he died, David was incapacitated. For police, it's the final piece of the jigsaw.
There was a combination of 3 drugs in his system: Demerol, Phenergan, and Doxepine. He was given it sometime the night before, and that morning he would still have been in a groggy state.
Should he have heard anything, he wouldn't have been able to take any meaningful action to take himself out of harm's way.
The third shot was fired for one reason only: to wrap David's hand around that gun so he would have gunshot residue on his hand.
Rainella really screwed up.
Rainella is charged with her husband's murder. But her callous crime gets prosecutors thinking. What really happened to her first husband, District Attorney General Ed Dossett? They re-examine Ed's autopsy results.
The The toxicology report revealed he had massively high doses of morphine in his system when he died.
Rainella was a nurse. She knew how to do that. She knew how much drugs he would need to die.
But only one murder conviction is needed to lock Rainella away. She's found guilty of the first-degree murder of David Leath.
My dad, he was a good guy. He was happy-go-lucky. Everybody liked him. I never got to, say goodbye.
Rainella Dossett Leath is serving a life sentence in the Woman's State Prison in Nashville.
Rainella is a greedy sociopath who cares more for the almighty dollar than she did the life of her husbands. Is Rainella dangerous? Absolutely.